Welcome to U.S. Numismatics, your treasure map to the world of rare U.S. coins. In just minutes, we'll uncover the stories, secrets, and surprising values behind the coins you might already own. Let's dive in and see what hidden gems are waiting to be discovered. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1. Today we're about to dive deep into one of the most talked about coins in American numismatic circles, the 1971 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might just look like a regular pocket change piece, something you'd toss in a vending machine without a second thought. But believe me, this coin holds secrets that could make your jaw drop, especially if you're lucky enough to find one with certain ultra-rare features. Now, here's the exciting part: not all 1971 quarters are created equal. While millions were minted for everyday use, a very small number were struck with such unusual characteristics, they've become prized collectibles. And some of them? They're worth an absolutely mind-blowing amount today. Let's take a journey into the past for a moment. The year was 1971. Richard Nixon was president, Apollo 14 had just returned from the moon, and in the world of coinage, the U.S. Mint was busy producing quarters that would circulate across the country for decades to come. But amidst those millions of coins, a few were different, marked by rare minting errors and striking flaws that collectors go crazy for. What kind of errors, you ask? Oh, there are several, each more fascinating than the last. Some quarters from 1971 were accidentally struck on silver planchets. Those are blank coins meant for other denominations or years. That's a big deal, because regular 1971 quarters were made from copper-nickel, not silver. So if you find one that weighs a little more or sounds just a bit different when dropped, it might not be what it seems. Other rare errors include double die obverse, where the image and lettering on the front of the coin appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during minting. These errors are not easy to spot, but with a trained eye, or even a good magnifying glass, you might just notice it. These kinds of quirks transform a regular quarter into a valuable collector's piece. There are even rarer types still, off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly aligned in the press. And let's not forget clipped planchets, where the coin is missing a chunk from one side. While these may seem like imperfections, collectors adore them because they prove how rare, and how human, the coin-making process really is. Now, the real magic happens when one of these minting errors appears on a 1971 quarter that has remained in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition. These coins are incredibly hard to come by. Most have passed through thousands of hands, lost their shine, or vanished into forgotten drawers. But the few that have survived in pristine shape, well, they're worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, one of these elusive 1971 quarter dollars, struck with an extremely rare error and preserved in remarkable condition, was recently valued at an absolutely astonishing amount. Are you ready for it? That coin was valued at $79,000, yes, you heard that right. $79,000 for a single quarter. Imagine finding that in your change jar or hidden in an old box of keepsakes. So the next time you come across an old quarter, especially one from 1971, don't be too quick to spend it. Take a closer look. Check the details. Look for strange markings, off-center designs, or anything that feels different. You might just be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. Top 2. We're talking about the 1982 United States quarter dollar. Yes, the humble Washington quarter from the early 80s. But don't let its everyday appearance fool you, because some versions of this coin are incredibly rare and, believe it or not, worth a small fortune. Let's take a journey back to 1982. This was a transitional time for the U.S. Mint. Due to economic pressure and budget cuts, the Mint made a major decision: they stopped producing uncirculated coin sets for the public. That might not sound like a big deal, but for collectors, it was a huge moment. Because without those official Mint sets, far fewer coins from that year were preserved in high-quality, mint state condition. The majority of 1982 quarters went straight into circulation, getting scratched, worn down, and forgotten over time. So what does that mean for collectors today? It means that finding a 1982 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition is much harder than you might expect. Coins that were handled carefully, stored away, and protected from wear are now extremely sought after. They're like rare fossils from a time when coins were made to last, but rarely saved. But wait, it gets even more interesting, because the 1982 quarter isn't just rare due to limited high-quality examples. Some of these coins also feature minting errors that make them even more desirable. And this is where things really heat up in the world of numismatics. Imagine spotting a quarter with no mint mark where there should be one. In 1982, the U.S. Mint struck quarters in both Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver have a D mint mark. Philadelphia quarters, starting just a couple of years earlier, began using a P mint mark, but some 1982 quarters were struck in Philadelphia and left the mint without any mark at all. These no mint mark quarters are not only rare, but extremely collectible when found in high grade, and then there are the double die errors. That's when the coin is struck slightly off register, and you can see a doubling in the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. These small misprints are actually a big deal to collectors because they're easy to spot and extremely scarce. And here's another rare twist: some 1982 quarters were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet entirely. Instead of the standard copper-nickel composition, a few were minted on planchets meant for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins. These are the holy grail for error coin hunters. If you ever come across a quarter that feels too light, looks off color, or sounds strange when dropped, you might want to take a closer look. So let's talk about condition for a second. Coin grading plays a major role in value. A worn 1982 quarter might only be worth its face value, but a coin with sharp details, full luster, and no signs of wear? That's where things start to climb fast. If you add a rare error on top of a high grade, the value can skyrocket. This is why collectors are constantly checking their change, scouring coin rolls, and combing through estate sales. They know that a little effort could lead to a big reward. The right coin, with the right error, in the right condition, is all it takes. So how much can one of these little treasures be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to find a 1982 United States quarter that is in mint state condition, and features a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $75,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that once bought a gumball or helped pay for a parking meter could now be worth more than a brand new luxury car. So next time you come across some old coins, don't just toss them aside. Grab a magnifying glass. Look closely at the mint mark, the date, and any small irregularities. Because you never know when you might be holding a hidden treasure in the palm of your hand. Top 3. We're going to talk about a coin that's been hiding in plain sight for decades, a coin millions of Americans once carried in their pockets, yet only a tiny handful today know just how valuable it can be. We're talking about the 1967 United States quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, 1967? That's not that old. But don't let the date fool you. This coin holds secrets, quirks, and a level of rarity that's turning the heads of serious collectors across the country. If you're into coin hunting or just love stories of ordinary objects turning into extraordinary finds, keep watching, because this quarter might just blow your mind. Let's go back to the 1960s, a time of massive change in the United States. Social movements were growing, technology was booming, and even the coins in our pockets were going through a major transformation. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision. They removed silver from most circulating coins due to rising metal prices and economic strain. By 1967, the quarter dollar was being struck in a new metal blend, copper-nickel clad instead of the traditional 90% silver composition. This was a big shift, and 1967 quarters were part of this new generation. But there's more. That year, the mint did not place any mint marks on its coins. Why? Because the U.S. government was trying to reduce coin hoarding. They believed that by removing mint marks, people would be less inclined to stash coins away, thinking they might be special. Ironically, this made certain coins, including the 1967 quarter, even more interesting to collectors years later. You see, without mint marks, it becomes harder to trace where a coin was made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. And while the majority of 1967 quarters were produced in Philadelphia, a few strange anomalies began surfacing over the years, and this brings us to one of the biggest reasons collectors are on the hunt for 1967 quarters today: minting errors. Some 1967 quarters were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet altogether. For example, a few were accidentally made on dime planchets. These are slightly smaller, which means the quarter design spills over the edge, giving it an odd, cropped appearance. Others were found struck on leftover silver planchets, yes, real silver, even though silver was supposedly phased out by then. These rare silver strike errors are some of the most desirable 1967 quarters known to collectors, and that's not all. You might find examples with double die errors, where elements of the design, like the date, the words, "In God We Trust," or even "Liberty," appear slightly doubled. These errors are easy to miss unless you're looking closely, but they drastically boost the value of a coin when verified. There are also known off-center strikes, coins with weak or missing edges, and even some quarters with an incomplete clad layer, revealing a copper core on one side. All of these errors occurred during a hectic time at the US Mint when millions of coins were being churned out at lightning speed, and quality control sometimes slipped. But remember, condition matters. If you find a 1967 quarter that's heavily worn from decades of circulation, its value might still be minimal. But if you discover one in brilliant uncirculated condition, with a rare error or unique variation, that's where things get exciting. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins that check all the boxes: rarity, mint error, and top-grade preservation. These coins are not just bits of metal, they're pieces of history. And the thrill of holding one is like discovering a relic from another time. So now for the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to find a 1967 United States quarter dollar in pristine, uncirculated condition, featuring a rare minting error, especially one struck on a silver or incorrect planchet, its value could skyrocket. Some of these rare examples have fetched an incredible $71,000, yes, you heard that right. A coin that once slipped into a vending machine or paid for a newspaper could now be worth more than a luxury car, or even more than the average yearly salary in the U.S. So the next time you go through your change jar, sort a roll of quarters, or stumble upon a dusty old coin collection, take a second look at those 1967 quarters. Because if the stars align and you've got the right combination of condition and error, you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. Top 4. We're talking about the 1979 United States quarter dollar. Now, let's be honest, when you first hear the year 1979, it doesn't exactly scream rare. But that's what makes this story so exciting. Because under the surface of this common-looking coin lies a world of mystery, errors, and collector dreams. If you're a serious numismatist, a casual hobbyist, or even just someone with a curious mind, this is one video you'll want to watch all the way through. Let's rewind the clock to 1979. America was in a time of change. Technology was evolving, the economy was shifting, and the US Mint was operating at full throttle, pushing out millions of coins each year to meet the growing demand. The Washington quarter, which had been in circulation since 1932, was still being struck with the now standard copper-nickel clad composition, a change that began in 1965 after silver was removed from circulation coins. So, what makes the 1979 quarter special? It's not just the date, it's the details. It's what went wrong during the minting process. You see, when millions of coins are produced every year, even the tiniest minting error can create a unique variety, and that's where the magic happens for collectors. Some 1979 quarters were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were minted on coin blanks meant for other denominations, like nickels or even pennies. This mistake results in a coin that has the design of a quarter but the size, weight, or metal of something completely different. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare and command serious value. Then, there are the double die errors. These occur when the die that stamps the design onto the coin shifts slightly between strikes. The result? A ghost-like doubling of letters or numbers, most commonly on the words, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date, 1979. These errors are tricky to spot with the naked eye, but under magnification, they become stunning and valuable. Other collectors have come across 1979 quarters with off-center strikes, where the design is visibly misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank or distorted. Still others have discovered missing clad layers, revealing the bright copper core beneath. These types of errors are eye-catching and, more importantly, extremely collectible, but here's the twist: most people will never notice these errors. They'll spend these coins or stash them away, never realizing what they're holding. That's why collectors, especially those with a sharp eye and a good magnifying glass, are constantly combing through coin rolls, old collections, and pocket change. Because it only takes one special find to make it all worthwhile. Now, condition is everything. A 1979 quarter with wear and tear from decades of circulation might not fetch much. But if you find one in brilliant, uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare error, that's where the true value lies. Coins that have been preserved carefully, untouched by the harshness of time, are the ones that can command top prices in the collector market. So, what happens when rarity meets perfection? You get a coin that collectors are willing to fight for. A coin that auctions whisper about. A coin that transforms from pocket change into a prize, and here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. If you happen to discover a 1979 United States quarter dollar with a rare minting error in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $67,000. Yes, you heard that right. That quarter rattling around in an old drawer or sitting at the bottom of your coin jar might just be a hidden treasure. So, take another look at your change. Examine those 1979 quarters carefully. Because in the world of coin collecting, every detail matters, and sometimes, it's the ordinary coins that hold the most extraordinary surprises. Top 5 were shining the spotlight on the United States quarter dollar from the year 1990. Now, I know what you're thinking: 1990 doesn't sound all that long ago. It's not ancient, it's not silver, and millions of quarters were minted that year. So why are we talking about it? Why is the 1990 quarter turning heads in the world of collectors? The answer lies in the details, the hidden imperfections, the rare minting errors, and the few outstanding specimens that have survived in pristine condition. Let's rewind to 1990. This was a time when the US Mint was running at full speed, producing billions of coins to meet everyday demand. The Washington quarter had already been around for decades, ever since 1932, and by 1990, it was a familiar sight in every American's pocket. These quarters were made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, no silver, no fancy metals. Just your standard quarter, but even in this sea of ordinary coins, mistakes happened. And when mistakes happen at the mint, collectors take notice. Some 1990 quarters were struck with double die errors. That means the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly between strikes, creating a doubled image, especially noticeable on key details like the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. These double die errors are rare, and the cleaner and clearer the doubling, the more desirable the coin becomes. Another highly sought-after variety? The off-center strike. These are coins where the design is noticeably shifted away from the center, leaving part of the coin blank or distorted. These off-center coins are dramatic, eye-catching, and highly collectible, especially if the date is still visible, which helps confirm the year and authenticity. And let's not forget about the most exciting kind of minting mistake: coins struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a quarter with the design of a Washington quarter but struck on a planchet meant for a dime or even a foreign coin. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare and fetch huge prices at auction, but rarity alone isn't enough. For a 1990 quarter to be worth big money, it also has to be in excellent condition. I'm talking about coins that have never been circulated, that still shine like they just left the mint, that show every tiny detail of George Washington's face, the eagle on the reverse, and the fine lines and letters with absolute clarity. These uncirculated coins are the crown jewels of any collector's stash. What makes this coin so exciting for collectors is the thrill of the hunt. It's not just about the age or the metal, it's about discovering something rare hiding in plain sight. A 1990 quarter with a rare error, especially in brilliant uncirculated condition, isn't just a collector's piece, it's a treasure. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a rare 1990 United States quarter dollar with a major minting error, such as a double die, an off-center strike, or an off-metal planchet, and it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $62,000. Yes, you heard that right, $62,000. From what appears to be just another quarter.so before you toss your change into a machine or spend it on a snack, take a moment to look closely. That simple little coin could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a valuable discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.